What I learned was that there's a particular art form to dealing with widows. I did develop relationships with attorneys and CPAs who knew that I knew how to work with widows. They take an extremely long time to make a decision. Hopefully there's been a trust relationship built, because if not, then you may not ever, continue that relationship after typically the husband passes away. So yeah, so just basically from doing it a few times, realizing that I had a particular skill set there in terms of being sensitive and understanding and compassionate and patient more than anything. Some of the challenges, I think, is that you really have to immerse yourself in a company's culture, understand how they feel about their stock. Sometimes people don't want to sell their company stock ever, and they'll take it all the way down to the bottom, before they'll give up the great gift that was given to them. But yeah, kind of just cutting through the corporate maze and learning their benefits. On the widow side, you do have a bit of a maze as well, working with family members that may have a conflicting interest. They might want to step in and take care of mom for the first time. They might not know how. Other professionals that want to get involved, whether it be the attorney, CPA. No real power struggles, but just really an understanding of what pace this particular person wants to proceed. I put those two things in very different silos. The technology is one thing, and I'm very dependent on technology. In fact, I'm virtual. Now I have no physical office. My entire business is on the cloud, and so technology is super important. It has increased our productivity, my efficiency. It's increased my income, and it's definitely increased my free time. On the social media side, I see that as a tool where maybe the jury's still at. Some of the compliance departments for different companies haven't quite embraced it. And if they have, they've still got some chains around it. There are companies that have developed that will basically outsource the compliance aspect of social media, so that some broker-dealers can allow their people to do it. And same for insurance companies. For me, I have not truly embraced the social media in terms of marketing myself, and I'm kind of a big believer that you really want to control your environment as much as you can. Social media maybe takes you out of the control arena. Having that extra freedom for family time. When our first daughter was born, I actually worked from home for the first 8 or 9 months while my wife was finishing up her school and things like that. So it gave us a lot of freedom in that regard too. The financial part, this is an industry where you can really make a lot of money if you work hard, especially up front. Regulation is huge. More and more. I have a recent example where my broker-dealers were requiring me to get a designation as the accredited investment fiduciary designation because I have 2 ERISA 401k plans, and that means it's a government-regulated, federal government-regulated retirement plan. There's talk that the federal government is now going to require IRAs, which is something common to all of us in the industry, to be registered under ERISA, which means federal regulation, which means we'd all have to be fiduciaries and not being allowed to charge commissions. There's a particular story that's pretty moving for me, and that is, I had a client, Bill, and his wife Carol. He was a pharmacist, and she was a school teacher. Nicest people ever, and we had a great relationship. They were financial planning poster children, and they had everything in place so that they could retire, and they did. The only problem is that 2 months after they retired, Bill went for a bike ride, and as he came back, he dropped dead of a heart attack in his driveway. I called her, she told me what happened, we both cried, and then she said, but you know what, I know I'm going to be okay because I just knew all I had to do was call you, because we had done all the things, and that's turned out to be absolutely true. She'll never want for money. First of all, I think you should own what you're selling, but depending on what you sell, you can't always own everything that you are selling. Sometimes it's just not appropriate for your situation, or something's particularly appropriate for someone else, and you have that need covered in a different way. So I just try to go through with people. If they ask me, is this something that you own? I tell them yes or no, and if it's a no, I tell them why I don't own it. You know, doesn't mean it's a bad product. It's just I don't have that same need as you, because everyone's needs are different.